All right, so season 6 of The Real Housewives of New Jersey. It's what you might call a soft reboot of the show. We lost Caroline, we lost Jacqueline, we lost, if you really want to call it that, Kathy. We've still got Teresa, and we've got Melissa. Dina comes back, and then we've got 3 other new housewives. We've got Amber Marchese. We've got Teresa, very important, not Teresa, Teresa Aprea, whose twin sister, Nicole Napolitano, is also on the show. So the twins, the twins. I know that you all have heard a lot about them. Mostly bad, I'm sure. But the thing is, to me, the twins were actually really good housewives. They were glamour pusses. They were mischievous, causing lots of drama and trouble. They were somewhat aspirational. They were 2 seemingly well-off women living in the ritzier part of northern New Jersey. And, you know, they knew how to have fun. They knew how to keep things light. It made for a great contrast with all of the family drama that we had with Caroline, Jacqueline, and Kathy. I almost forgot her name. Go figure. Yeah, the twins, I feel like, really spiced things up. At the time of filming, Nicole Napolitano, twin number 1, is a recent divorcee, starting life over again as a single woman after years of marriage. Nicole is like, well, the twins are both sort of light and bouncy personalities, but I would say that Nicole is the lighter of the 2. She's blonde, she's bouncy, she's bubbly, she's a little bit ditzy, but nonetheless, still a pretty tough girl. And Nicole is dating Bobby, a volunteer firefighter, and as we would later find out, a trust fund baby, and a confirmed bachelor. I don't mean that in the gay way. I mean that in the, at almost 40 years old, it appears that Bobby's never really had a serious relationship with a woman. Again, not in a gay way, but in a living the single life, enjoying it way too much kind of way, you might say. And it doesn't help that Bobby is best friends with the Marcheses, Jim and Amber. Bobby's best friends with Jim, but apparently the Marcheses are a package deal, and with Jim comes Amber. Jim and Amber both seem abnormally attached to Bobby. I would say it goes beyond treating someone like a close family friend. They treat Bobby like a little brother, who they're super protective of, you know, a continuing theme on New Jersey with Joe and Teresa being the originals. But yeah, Jim and Amber are really nosy. They're strangely controlling of Bobby, and they're really nosy about his relationship with Nicole, which drives Nicole crazy, as I think it would any woman, having another married couple be involved in your relationship. A relationship is not big enough for 4 people, in my opinion, and I think the opinions of most. Jim is just an asshole, as we'll see as the season goes on. Amber, you could be forgiven for thinking that she's the kinder person in that marriage. She's not as terrible as Jim is. Her mouth definitely isn't as lethal as his, but she's catty, and she really doesn't like Nicole. Amber was best friends with Melissa when they went to college together. But they stopped talking shortly after graduation, and at this point, they actually haven't seen each other in like 10, 15 years. So they're being reintroduced on this season 6 of New Jersey. Amber is also a cancer survivor. You know, there's not really anything negative you can say about that, regardless of what you think of Amber as a person. I mean, it's amazing for anyone to beat cancer. We all know how terrible cancer is. And if you didn't know going into it, Amber will happily tell you, because Amber brings up her cancer and the fact that she's a survivor a lot. One might even say that she leans on it a bit. It's kind of her storyline in the season, even though she's recovered from it. She talks a lot about being a survivor. God bless her, but you might get a little tired of hearing it. Things get physical between Nicole and Amber after Amber, in a conversation with Melissa, calls Nicole a hoe, who broke up somebody's marriage. She doesn't say who, but she does say that Nicole had an affair with a married man and that man's marriage ended up ending. We never find out whether that's true or not. It doesn't get exposed on the show, but Amber said it. And Melissa told Nicole that Amber said it. There's a Halloween costume party, like the second or third episode of the show, if memory serves, where Nicole confronts Amber about what she told Melissa about her. There's some cattiness back and forth. There's some finger snapping really close to Nicole's face. Nicole ends up grabbing Amber's arms to sort of like push her hands out of her face. Amber pulls Nicole's hair and Nicole snatches Amber's hair right back. It takes all of the other women at the party and a couple of the men to pull them apart. Does that remind you of anything? Potomac, maybe? But after they do get pulled apart, Amber drops another bomb, lobs another grenade, and gets in Nicole's face and says, "This is why Bobby won't marry your ass." That really pisses off Nicole, but it pisses off Teresa even more. Teresa throws a drink at Amber, and Amber knocks the glass out of Teresa's hand. And while Amber's turned facing Teresa, Nicole, who's at her side, sort of out of view, you could say that she sucker punched Amber, but you gotta stay aware when you're in a confrontation with somebody. You can't drop your guard and turn away from the person that you were fighting. So Nicole slaps Amber. Amber tries to slap her back. They end up getting into another like hairlock, and Jim pulls Amber out of the fray. And that's it for that fight. But it's just the end of the battle. It's not the end of the war between the Marcheses and the twins. Speaking of twin number 2, Teresa. Not Teresa. Not Teresa. Not Teresa like Giudice. Teresa Aprea is still married to a guy named Reno. They have one kid. Reno is a restaurateur and a popular man about town in the tri-state area. Teresa is the sort of the raven-haired beauty, in contrast to Nicole being blonde, as I mentioned before. They're the same age, obviously, they're twins, but Teresa just seems older. Her presence is a little bit heavier. She seems like a perfectly nice woman, but there seems to be more going on behind Teresa's eyes than Nicole's. She speaks a little bit slower. Her voice is a little bit deeper. I mean, despite Nicole being the one who got into a fight, I personally would be more afraid of pissing off Teresa. She just seems like she knows where the bodies are buried, so to speak. Both of the twins are really close to their parents. Their father is kind of a sweet, doddering old man at this point. I mean, maybe I shouldn't call him an old man. I think he's only 70 something. But he's married to Santa, who at, even her, forgive me, but advanced age, is a very sort of like vivacious, sexy character. She's kind of a gilf. One could be forgiven for saying. She's such a gilf that Victoria Gotti, who, you know, allegedly is an old friend of Reno's, makes an appearance mid-season, asking Amber and Teresa, not Teresa, but Teresa Giudice, over to her house for like tea, where she tells the two of them that that Reno and Santa are so close, and Santa is so hot that that Reno slept with his mother-in-law. I forgot to mention, Teresa and Reno were actually married twice. They got married initially when they were young, they broke up, and then they remarried later on in life. Now, Victoria Gotti, the famous Victoria Gotti, claims that they broke up because, again, Reno had sex with his mother-in-law, Teresa's mother, Santa. Wow. I don't believe Victoria Gotti. I don't believe that statement. I don't know why she would make up something like that, but I just don't buy it. I don't see any woman remarrying a man who she divorced because he had sex with her mother. I can't believe that. I don't know what Victoria Gotti's agenda was for saying that, if she just wanted some camera time, or she needed an excuse to hang out with her friend Teresa, but I don't buy it. So as I mentioned in the beginning, Dina Manzo has returned to the show after 3 seasons away. She was gone for seasons 3, 4, and 5. And in my opinion, she has returned as support for her real-life best friend, Teresa, who is going through a terrible time. At this point in our Real Housewives of New Jersey journey, we know that Teresa is most likely going to prison, for the crimes that she and her husband Joe committed, fraud, and I don't remember the details of Teresa and Joe's charges, but mostly it amounts to fraud, lying on documents, signing documents that she should not have, so on and so forth. The writing on the wall says that Teresa's going to be going to prison. So I feel like they brought Dina back just as, like, not a peace offering to Teresa, but just to throw the woman a bone, really. We could argue whether or not it's deserved, you know. You do the crime, you pay the time. But anyway, either way, Dina's back. She's now divorced from Tommy Manzo, who she was married to her first and second season on the show. She's single. She's looking to date. We don't see her go out with anyone serious. She has one date with a guy that she met at that costume party that I brought up earlier, but it doesn't go anywhere. Dina's main conflict this season is not with another housewife. It's not with Melissa, who at this point has really made up with Teresa after years of battling. It's with a house husband, the new house husband, Jim Marchese, who, as I said before, is a total asshole. After the fight at the costume party, Jim, for some bizarre reason, confronts the other women in the group about what happened. And he has a lot of fire for Dina, who he's never met before, and who really, at this point, has little to nothing to do with his wife. But Jim is very ungentlemanly to Dina, and Dina returns the favor by, saying some pretty harsh things about Jim to his face, which I would say is well-deserved. So go on, Dina. Anyone who's watched the show since season 6 knows that things did not work out with the Marcheses and the twins. They were all one-season wonders. It's arguable whether that was deserved, whether, some of them made it hard for the show to bring them back, whether they ended up not coming back because Teresa did in fact go to prison for over a year, which stopped production on the show for that time, because they definitely were not going to film without Teresa. I've mentioned before that Teresa is, I hate to say it, but she's essential to this franchise. Like, the whole show revolves around her in one way or another, which you could say is a bad thing. Maybe you enjoy it and you think it's a good thing, but at this point, it's a fact. So they delayed production while Teresa was away. They did end up filming a special with Joe because the judge who sentenced them was kind enough not to have them serve consecutive sentences. One spouse went in, one came out. Teresa went first, and Bravo filmed a short series with Joe and their daughters while Teresa was away. But production on The Real Housewives of New Jersey had halted until Teresa was released from prison. I do want to mention before I wrap up part 2 of this Real Housewives of New Jersey retrospective, that Jim and Amber are currently involved in a feud with Jim's son from his first marriage, Michael. Now, we don't know a ton about why they're feuding right now, but Michael says that his father has basically cut him out of his life after Michael came out as gay. Now, I don't recall the Marcheses being particularly anti-gay in their time on the show, but I do know that, like a lot of people in New Jersey, they are devoutly Catholic. The Catholic religion, while, I wouldn't say it's the most homophobic major religion in the world, definitely still frowns on homosexuality, unfortunately. And I don't say that in defense of Jim and Amber at all, because I don't think Jim and Amber are good people. And part of me really believes that it's not, that if that's true, if what Michael is saying is true, I don't believe it's based on any religious beliefs. I really think Jim Marchese is the kind of man who would be ashamed of having a gay son. I think Amber has always been willing to go along with whatever Jim wants to do, positive or negative. And if he's rejected Michael, then she's rejected Michael. Despite him being a part of their family and living with them instead of his mother. So Michael, Michael's only 18 or 19 years old at this point, I believe. So he's still a child, and he grew up in Jim and Amber's house. But yeah, now apparently he's not welcome. And, as a queer person, I would just like to encourage whoever may be listening to this to listen to their children, embrace their children, and love their children for who and what they are. And realize that feuding with your child over something like their sexuality is such a waste of very precious time that we have here on Earth. So just don't do it. I know I said in part 1 that in this part I would be covering Amber, the twins, Siggy Flicker, Dolores, and Margaret Josephs. But There's only 24 hours in a day. I only have so long to film these, and this part has gone on for much longer than I anticipated. Not that I haven't enjoyed it. I've enjoyed every moment, but it's gone on a while, and I'm not trying to put out a 40-minute video for you all. Not yet, at least. So I'm gonna have to save Margaret and the other girls for part 3. I also will mention that Amber and the twins aren't the only ones who don't return for season 7. Dina also calls it quits again, and you'll find out why in part 3. So thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure. I hope it's been a pleasure for you as well. And I'll see you in part 3 of the Real Housewives of New Jersey retrospective as seen by moi. Thank you.